Hello collectors and welcome to my review of the S.H. Figuarts Perfect Cell. He was one of the first Dragon Ball Z characters to be made in the Figuarts line due to overwhelming fan demand, and in the source material, he's quite powerful. But how does this figure hold up? Well, let's take a look and see whether or not it's worth adding into your collection. Despite some collectors saying the Figuarts cell isn't accurate to the source material when it comes to the sculpt, and I do agree to an extent, Perfect Cell looks really great in hand. There are a lot of small detailing sculpted into him, and even the purple spots on Cell have nice little folds sculpted into him too. The paint's not bad either, though there are some quality control issues on mine. And there are subtle detailings here and there which make Cell look neat under close inspection. Cell's head has some nice detailing, as I've been saying, especially with the smirk face. Also of note, the larger eyes some have complained about. Doesn't bother me personally. A good look at the torso here, and again, notice the detailing right around here in the purple area. Here's a look at his back, and you can see what remains of the tail. And yes, it's very pointy. Sharper than the Series 1 NECA knife head. Here's one of the noticeable small quality control issues on mine, underneath the left wing here. The legs, detailed as ever, and the feet, with purple to highlight the grooves in them. Overall, yes, Cell may not be 1001% source material accurate, but the in-hand product is amazing. It truly does feel like a quality product. Cell's articulation, for me, is a bit of a mixed bag. The articulation that's there, it's pretty great, but I noticed that quite a bit is either loose or it just doesn't connect well. A standard for the Figuarts line, Cell's head is attached to his neck on a ball joint, but if you move it to the left or to the right too far, then, well, it'll simply pop off. And upon removing the head, you'll see that there is a double swivel joint here that allows you to move the ball joint from one side to another, along with spinning it around in the base of the neck. So you can definitely get a lot of movement out of the head area of Cell, but the actual neck itself is attached to Cell's body on a ball joint too. So there's movement there. For Cell's arms, the actual shoulder is attached in Cell's body on a ball joint, which is pretty sweet. And these shoulder pads here, these black ones, they're on a hinge. So you can move them up and down, so you can free the rest of Cell's arm to move it around, and it doesn't block the articulation at all. Now the actual shoulder itself is attached on a swivel joint or a hinge joint, whichever you would technically prefer to call it, so you can move it up and down. And Cell's bicep is attached to the shoulder on a swivel joint, and for me, it really likes to pop off. But yes, it swivels. Elbow, typical Figuarts double hinge there, so you're going to get some great movement out of there. And again, a standard for the Figuarts line, Cell's hand is attached to his wrist on a ball joint, which is also that double swivel, or the ball hinge, as some like to call it. So you're going to be able to get a lot of expression out of Cell's arms. Switching to Cell's back for a little bit, you have two wings here, which are attached on ball joints. So yeah, pretty much everything that can move on Cell does. Cell's main body also has 3 points of articulation. First and foremost, you have this split part, which is right here on the chest, which is attached on a ball joint, so you can get some movement there. You have an articulation point here on the body at the abdomen, which is attached in a ball joint, and then Cell's waist is attached to the body on a ball joint too. But for mine, unfortunately, as you can see, it's loose, and it likes to pop out, and you can actually see the ball joint and the inner workings there to attach for the wings. Cell's legs, typical Figuarts. The thigh is attached to the hip on a ball joint, so as you can see it moves around like that. And the hip structure is the Figuarts pull-down style. There's a working hinge on the inside there. Unfortunately, because there's this little lip here on the upper portion of the thigh by the hip, it tends to block the articulation a little bit, as you can see there. The knee, double hinge, as expected for the Figuarts line. Now the feet, because they're unfortunately blocked by this portion of Cell's leg, the shin area, what have you, they're attached on a ball joint. So you're going to be able to get some motion out of them, but unfortunately some extreme poses I can't get out of the feet, which is sad, but I guess it works. Cell's toe as you can see, is on a hinge. So Cell's overall articulation is pretty great, but for me personally, some stuff, it's just loose, like I said, and it just doesn't want to work right. But overall, if you can think of a pose, chances are you're going to be able to get Cell in it. First up, Cell comes with the folded arm accessory piece, and attaching it, it's relatively simple. All you have to do is just grab the bicep and pop it off. And then line up the holes, like so, with the bicep pegs. May have to actually adjust his arm a little bit. And voila! Cell is crossing his arms. Along with Cell's default smirk, you get this somewhat serious face over here on the left, and this angry screaming face on the right. Swapping it out, not difficult at all. Simply pop Cell's head off like I showed you earlier, and then grab the face piece and remove it. Take the alternate face piece and just slide it in. Along with the alternate faces of Cell, you also get alternate hands. On the far right there, you have really splayed out hands. In the middle, you have different hands. I'm not sure exactly what they're supposed to be for. And then on the left there, you have special hands for the Kamehameha effect part, which I'll show later. And swapping out the hands for Cell is really easy. All you have to do is grab the current hand on Cell and pop it off. Then take your new hand and pop it back onto the ball joint, like so. The last accessory that you get with Cell is the Kamehameha effect part. So it comes in multiple parts. You get the actual beam itself, as you can see here. Somewhat translucent plastic with some blue spray here and there. You get a Stage Act 4 support arm to support the effect, obviously. And you get the display base, which comes in different parts that all you have to do is just pop in. It's pretty simple. And obviously, as I showed you from the reverse process, all you have to do is plug the support arm into the base, find the hole on the Kamehameha effect part, plug it into the top of the Stage Act 4 arm, and there you go. And displaying Cell firing off the Kamehameha, it's easy to do. Just simply pose Cell as if he was firing it, and line it up. And there you go. That's everything that Cell comes with. Unfortunately, he doesn't come with a display stand for himself, which is pretty odd considering Cell has a unique body shape, and the typical Stage Act 4 support arm doesn't exactly grip around his waist or his torso very well, which it would have been nice if there was a special stand that came with Cell. But regardless, you have everything that Cell should come with. Maybe another effect part or two would be nice, but what you get, it's good enough. If you're looking to get your money's worth out of plastic, Cell is definitely something to take into consideration, because by no means is he a small figure. Here's Cell with some of the Digimon D-Arts. Here's Cell next to the SH Monster Arts Godzilla 2011 release and the NECA Godzilla 2014. Here's Cell with the Green Ranger and the White Ranger Figuarts. And here is Cell alongside the SH Figuarts Frieza Final Form. So as you can see, Cell is definitely one beefy figure. If you're looking for size, Cell definitely has it. So, buy Cell now, skip, or maybe wait for a sale. When it comes to looks, Cell, he's pretty great. Yeah, he's not exactly accurate to the source material, but in hand everything just looks natural. The eyes are a bit big, I will give it that, but there's no real major complaints there for me. Cell has just the right joints and engineering to actually make his articulation work for the most part well, but mine is a bit of a floppy mess, which is a bit disappointing. It's very difficult to actually have Cell move around fluently when stuff is flopping everywhere or just overall falling off. And Cell's accessory count, amazing. He comes with pretty much everything you would need for a great Cell action figure. If you're looking to pick the perfect Cell up, I wouldn't hesitate, as market prices are starting to climb in the aftermarket. Overall, it's a good value, but if you're going to be absolutely picky, maybe this perfect Cell isn't exactly for you. But it is a great figure.